Here's what Brett Brown told reporters just moments ago.
Yesterday.
Yeah, I've been told of him. I am aware of him. I haven't read it. It's Joel, and is it ideal? Maybe not. Is it Joel? Yes. Is there a, maverick in a lot of really, really good players? Yes. And there's this, sort of side of Joe that has always been there, that it's a, playful's probably not the word that best suits this, but it's that. It's some phrasing of that. And, we move on. I don't really have much more to add to that.
Does it concern you, though, that where a guy is saying you can come here, and be a villain, and he's saying, okay? And
I really don't even, and I know what you're saying, Keith. I've got so much more that I'm thinking about than that. I'll go back to my original comment. Is it ideal? No. Am I reading too much into it? Will I overreact? Absolutely not. Like, the people that have been around Joe for all of our time should get what motivates him. And I think that we'd all be quite surprised if there isn't a level that we see from Joe tonight. And the Philly fans, it's like they bring out the best of him, of us. They keep it very much at a real level. And I look forward to seeing him play tonight.
Is there a prop bet on how many points the over is tonight for Joel Embiid?
What do you mean? The over on his points?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's at, I think, 23 and a half.
The Clippers have Zippo size. This could be one of those nights where he's just dunking on people, shushing people, getting the crowd going, cup in the ear. He might bring it in or Iverson out.
This could be a 40-point night for Embiid.
Right. You have any issues with Brett Brown's comments there?
No, I don't have an issue with it, but it's just...
Were you expecting something different?
No,
more,
that's exactly what I was expecting.
Like, you could have sat me in that seat and probably got the same answer.
Yes, I didn't read it yet. That's Joe. He's playful. It's not ideal. I have a bunch of other things I should be focusing in on. Blah, 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 blah. A lot of nothing.
Pete Thompson, Tuesday with Thompson. Your thoughts? Brett Brown reacting to Joel Embiid, tweeting, Instagramming, and then Butler getting involved, saying, hey, I know a place where villains are accepted. And then, of course, Joel says, hey, damn right, brother. I look at that almost like, hey, you grew up with a buddy. One went to Mainland, the other went to Holy Spirit. The guy doesn't like the coach there. The Holy Spirit guy says, hey, we're having fun over here, and he gives him a like on there. Is it that juvenile, or is there more deeper roots here with this Joel Embiid stuff?
Well, it is juvenile, but, let's not alert the tampering police, right? That's the big thing, right? After when LeBron was courting Anthony Davis, that got a warning from the league. So you got to feel like as soon as he put on, damn right, brother, somebody who follows Joel might have said to him, you're drifting into dangerous territory there, big fella. That's the thing. It's like, look, Joel gets passionate, Joel playful, Joel fired up, whatever. You deserve the boost, Joel. Embrace him. Don't say shut the bleep up to the crowd. That's the crowd that backed you when you hadn't done anything. That's the crowd that backed you when you sat out an entire year. That's the crowd that fell in love with you from the minute you ran down the street at midnight, or were playing tennis at the rec court, or but you're never going to beat Philly fan ever. Ask Charles Barkley, ask Randall Cunningham, ask Ron Jaworski, ask anybody that's ask Mike Schmidt. Right? What was his quote? It's the only place where you can experience the thrill of victory and the agony of hearing about it the next day.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the one issue that I would say that. I don't like that Joel, and anybody for that matter, maybe Horford, if you want to throw him in from Friday night, that they are now placating to the lowest common denominator fan. Because I think for the most part, Joel Embiid, and I asked Ryan this question about an hour ago, and I didn't ask him for the answer because I wanted to let him think about it, which was, who is the most popular athlete in the city right now? Because we were talking about Bryce Harper. Where does he rank? And I would say Joel Embiid might be number one. So for him to placate
if
to
he's
this
not
lowest
one, he's
common
1A,
denominator
like-
of fan,
Yeah.
that's what bothers me, because he's the most popular guy, and now he's placating to this jackass who is probably a 1%er on the other spectrum, not the 1%er that makes all the money in the country.
Yeah, it's a bad look, you know. I mean, and Horford, you know, some of his issues, he got a little demonstrative, I guess would be the right word. I mean, listen, the Sixers on the road have been terrible. The Sixers at home have been world beaters. Nobody can explain it. You know, they're at home tonight. I heard what you were saying about what kind of games he's going to have tonight. I fully expect, you know, now that he's stirred this up, now that there's been entire posts about, oh, God, he's talking to Instagram about you with Jimmy Butler, he'll probably come out and just dominate tonight and then quietly sit there with that smile of like, see, go
Over
ahead.
under 23.5 is the point. You better jump on your app
Over.
right now there, PT.
Take me over.
All day, son. PT, so good to talk to you as always.
Thanks, buddy.
We played some audio earlier from the Hoops Collective podcast with Brian Windhorst, and he said executives around the NBA are picking up the phone and calling Elton Brand for a potential inquiry of Embiid being available on the trade market at some point. Obviously not right now, but in the offseason or whenever it may be. Do you think it could get to that point? Do you think this team needs to be split up?
Well, I think no. Split up, no. But I don't care if you got to lock them in a room or what, but Embiid and Simmons need to learn to play together. It's no secret that when Embiid's out for a long period of time, when he injured his finger, all of a sudden Simmons is looking like the greatest coming since ever. You know, I mean, since Dr. Naismith invented the game. It's like, for whatever reason, when both guys are on the floor, it doesn't work the way that it should work. And, you know, no wonder supervillain Jimmy Butler wants to stick his foot in there or hand in there and stir the pot. Even he sees it from a distance. You know, Horford comes out and says the locker room's not together. I mean, the team could be great, and they're not, and that's why everybody's frustrated. But do I think they're going to trade Embiid? Absolutely not. For that matter, I don't think they're going to trade Simmons either. They just need to find a way to get them to work together. And if I could solve that, I could solve world peace. I could get Israel and Palestine to get together. I could learn how to eat less. You know, I'd do a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm sure. And that's where I think a lot of this stems from, PT. I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, Ben has all this success when Embiid's not in the lineup. Well, Embiid's human. He's as close to the situation, if not closer, obviously, than the rest of us. He sees and hears all of that. So when he gets back into the lineup and they're struggling and they're saying the fit doesn't work and he's hearing the boos, like, I think that's a result, or that's a cause, I should say, of Shushgate. Embiid is shushing and saying, shut the bleep up, because he hears all this noise, especially look at Ben when you're not there.
Yeah, but Gil's right. I mean, look, you're the cornerstone of this franchise. You've been paid like the cornerstone of the franchise. If you're the one, then Ben Simmons is the 1A. Like, it's not even two. It's like, you know, Batman and Robin together and find a way to get it done. And that's the problem. You know, look, we didn't see all these problems when they had reliable shooters. You know, we didn't see all these problems when Jimmy Butler was grabbing the ball at the end of the game, or we certainly didn't see these problems if J.J. Redick was able to hit key threes down the stretch. You see all these problems when you've got one piece and the other piece, but they're not all fitting together.
Yeah.
All right, it's Tuesday with Thompson. The PT's here. Sixers, Clippers tonight, 97.3 ESPN. The coverage begins at 7 o'clock. PT, pitchers and catchers today report. And I just like to get the feel, man. What's the feel on this season? High anticipation, wait and see, don't care. I feel like this Phillies team, the expectations got high last year when Bryce Harper got signed, and it was like, this team could be, and then now it almost feels like, they let me down last year. I'll just kind of wait and see what happens in August.
Well, I absolutely care. I mean, I'm excited, and I had it in my phone that this was the day of the report. So the fact that I put it in my phone tells you that I'm jacked. They're down there, and
you still have that dinosaur phone.
Yeah, I still have that dinosaur phone. I haven't upgraded yet.
All right.
But I know this, Mike Gill. What do they have? 69 guys they invited to, like, the most ever? I mean, that.
Sir,
that
it's a
tells
family
you
show.
everything
Sir, 70.
I thought, all right, 70 minus 1. I thought that's how many guys I read that were invited. You know, you looked at the list of non-roster invitees. I mean, they're basically saying, hey, you want a chance? Come to Phillies spring training because we're looking for a few good men. You know, I mean, that to me says that they're not a complete picture. And certainly, you know, they're not a complete picture in the rotation and certainly in the bullpen where Tommy Hunter's back. I mean, come on.
The fish that saved Tommy Hunter. All right, let's go to the Fly Guys because last night Carter Hart.
And by the way, the number was 70 minus 1. I just would like to point that out. They invited 70 minus 1 players to Clearwater. That's the number.
Yes.
We're joking, PT.
It's a family show. All right, Carter Hart, Flyers. They are in the playoffs if they start right now. 26 games left. Islanders tonight, big one, which I would imagine Carter Hart's not going to play tonight because he played last night.
No, Brian Elliott. So, what
games left to go? PT's feel on this Flyers team is?
I think they're a playoff team. I mean, but it's going to come down to those games in the conference and the games against the teams that are fighting. That's why the Florida game was important last night. That was a team that they were fighting for positioning, and Hart looked decent. You know, I mean, I don't know that Hart made any like Vezina Trophy saves. He made a couple solid saves, but he kept him in the game. He didn't really let any loose ones. And then you know, they found a way to win the game last night, including the fact, you know, Giroux actually scored in back-to-back games. People don't think about that, but that empty net at the end gave him back, and he hadn't scored in forever before he scored in Washington. So my big thing, and I saw our pal Dave Isaac tweeted out that the defense is the same as last night, and I'm okay with that. Like, Shane Gostisbehere didn't skate, so good. Keep running Robert Haig out. You know, you might lose a little bit of offense because really, but defensively, I think they're a better team. You know, the lines are Giroux, Couturier, Voracek, Farabee. He is in the lineup. He was battling an illness. Farabee, Hayes, and Konechny, JVR, Lawton, and Pitlick, and then Raffle, Bunneman, and Abe Kubel. I mean, that Abe Kubel is the steal of the year. That's the surprise of the year, you know, that they actually had a real NHLer that's now come up from the AHL and learned how to play fourth-line contributions.
Did you see that stat that I just saw being float out there? I think it was yesterday, PT, where Giroux is like third all time in points here for the Flyers in the history of the franchise. And we've talked about Giroux before when he had his 100-point season and everything like that. But it's wild when you see it in writing that he's really one of the all-time Flyers greats, but really probably one of the most underappreciated. Is that fair?
Yeah, he's absolutely underappreciated. You know, Mike Gill and I have gone back and forth before about, is he a Hall of Famer? Is he not a Hall of Famer? You know, is he even the best player on the team at the time? You know, because there's been times in the playoffs where Giroux's come up short. The worst thing that ever happened to Giroux is that Pierre Laviolette called him one of the best players in the world. You know, from that point on, then people always were like, is he? Is he really? You know,
but the numbers say he is.
Well, all the guy does is quietly lead, you know, and all the guy does is quietly contribute. And all he does is move to whatever position that they, you know, he's been a center, he's been a wing, like whatever they need him to do, he'll go do. And the reason that he got all that notoriety was because that was his 800th career point. And I just thought that's such classic Giroux. All the hype going into that game was, is Alex Ovechkin going to get career goal number 700? He was back. And then quietly, Giroux has a 3-point night and gets himself to 800 career points. And look, he's never going to pass Bobby Clark. So I don't think that's not going to happen. But you have to respect where he is organizational-wise and all he's done. Now, I'll respect him a lot more if at the end of his career he can. Gil asked earlier in the tease, I heard him say a deep run. Do I think they'll make a deep run? No, but I think they'll get in.
All right, PT, how much XFL did you watch this weekend?
Well, I was looking for our boy Colin Thompson, and I caught him on the sidelines in classic PT fashion, paused the TV, got up, took a picture, and then waited a couple hours till I knew that he was on a bus or a plane or somewhere and texted it to him, and he texted back. He was appreciative. I watched both. What was it? DC was the first one. Yeah, I mean, I took a look, because I saw the tweets going by. Did I lock in for 3 hours of football? Hell no. I had other things to do, but I took a sample and I enjoyed it and saw things like, I like the immediacy of it. I'm okay with that. I know that some people didn't like hearing like Spider 2Y Banana or whatever the calls were, but I'm okay with hearing that. I mean, look, more.
And your host is Pete Thompson. Thank you, Peter.
That's me. All right, guys. Don't miss it.
Thanks, PT.
The Pete Thompson Show, Saturdays at 8.